Welcome, everybody, to the 13th episode of the Firefighters Podcast. There's big news in New York this week. We had a horrific, fatal fire. Unfortunately, we are lucky enough to have join us a photographer who was there. I'm sure you've seen his work. His pictures have been all over the place. They're amazing. Lloyd Mitchell. Lloyd, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
No, thank you, man. I've been following your work for years on the Twitter and Instagram, and I always think your pictures are great. But man, you got some really moving ones from Sunday. And I read your tweet this morning. Seems like you're going through some stuff, which I can definitely relate to. But let's just, if you don't mind, let's just start. And how'd you turn out? What did you listen to the scanner?
1 second. Let me turn the radio off.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, forgot to do that. Give me 1 second.
Right. No worries. If you don't follow Lloyd, check him out on Twitter at Lloyd Mitchell. I think on IG he's at Lloyd Mitchell.
Lloyd Mitchell Photography.
Lloyd
It's
Mitchell.
Lloyd Mitchell Photography and Urban Firefighting Portfolio.
Yeah.
On Instagram, and for Twitter, it's just Lloyd Photo.
Lloyd Photo. Got it.
Yeah. So going back to Sunday, Sundays are generally like days I just don't work. I don't work Sundays unless something crazy and unusual happens. So I got up at my normal time about 8 o'clock, and it was just like a normal day. Like I was chilling out, hanging out with a girlfriend, and she went to the gym. My best friend and I, we do NFL pool picks together.
Nice.
And she called me up, and we did our picks, hang up. We did this thing where we do this thing every weekend where we're like, love you and love you back, blah, 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 hang up the phone, done. And then I'm getting ready to hopefully spend hours of watching football on a Sunday. That's
Right.
what I love to do. I just like to watch sports and enjoy myself and chill out and kind of relax and forget about work, for 8 to 12 hours out of the day.
Right.
And it's about 10:50, 11 o'clock. Get a notification for a fire up in the Bronx. I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So it takes me a while to get up there. And
Sure.
I'm not paying any attention to this fire at all. And then I get another alert about this fire. And they're saying they have 7 1045s, 7 victims. And I'm like, okay, still not thinking anything of it because it's a high-rise building.
Right.
It's
Could be anything at that point.
It could be
Yeah.
anything. It could be anything under the sun. And I'm still not thinking anything of it. Then the next alert is they transmitted a second alarm, and they had 14 additional victims. Okay, that piques my interest
Yeah.
a tiny bit. And then after that happens, there's an urgent request for the third alarm. And they said they had people hanging out the windows screaming for help, and some people wanted to jump. So that really now gets my attention.
Yeah.
So I throw my shoes on, throw my jacket on, grab my camera gear, order up an Uber. Ubered in from
All right.
from Brooklyn to the Bronx. Got there in about 35 minutes. Wasn't really expecting to see much because I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear the Bronx dispatchers talking to the firefighters. And I'm going up the backside of the building. Then I see a videographer I know, and I see a photographer that I know. They said hello to me. I said hello to them. It was real quick, 2-3 seconds between both of them. And I kind of went out about my business. I go up to go walk up the hill. Next thing I know, these guys are just bringing EMS chauffeurs, firefighters are just rushing people by me with CPR in progress,
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, this is as bad as it gets. And so now I've got to figure out, how do I get these images out as quickly as possible to my clientele?
Right.
So I wasn't specifically working for anybody today, that day, so I could send it to anybody I want to. And I remember the first 4 people that they brought by. I just made a couple of photographs, and then I said, okay, I'm done at this specific stage. Let me walk up some more. So I walked by a fire truck, walked by another fire truck. I see a reporter that I know, give her a hug, ask her how she's doing. Said she was doing okay. And then there was no police perimeter set up where there would normally be between the press and where the operation is going up. So
Right.
I just walked as far as I possibly could.
Well, that's how
And
you know
then,
it's bad, right? If they didn't even
yeah,
get to that yet,
yeah.
that
And
means they're
I was like,
busy.
yeah, I'm like, it's 35, 40 minutes in.
Right.
How will we not have at least a perimeter set up?
Right.
So that just works out to my advantage. So I kind of anchored myself in there, stayed there. And next thing I know, the cop is screaming, press, press, you can't be here, you can't be here. And by then, I'm just having them scream at me and I'm just making pictures and I'm not hearing anything.
Right.
I'm hearing absolutely nothing. Like, I don't remember the person to the right of me. I don't remember the person to the left of me. I'm just in like tunnel vision,
That's, I was just gonna say,
and
that's what we call it.
yeah, I'm in
Yeah.
straight up tunnel vision, 100%. Um, Trying to figure out like what the hell's going on here, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I called my editor, and he called me. He missed my phone call, called him back, and he says, "I can't believe you made those types of photographs getting in from Brooklyn up to the Bronx in 35 minutes."
Yeah.
That shows you the amount of stress and how chaotic that situation was.
Hmm.
It's a hat tip for everybody that operated there, from the fire department to paramedics to cops to chiefs to hell, even the people that got out of the building on their own power
Yeah.
with minimal assistance, and then huge shout out to my journalist colleagues, because that stuff needs to be seen, and it's important for that type of stuff to be seen for society to understand what we're going through.
Yeah.
So you have Philadelphia. They just lost 12 people, 8 of them kids, in a fire. And now we have an unknown amount of number of people at this specific fire, you know?
Yeah. I think as of today, there's still people in critical condition, right? So
Yeah.
we don't know what the
And
total is gonna be, but I believe it was 8 kids again.
yeah, it was 8 kids again, that were fatally wounded, unfortunately. That's the worst part about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anytime a kid is involved, you're like, that's not the way you want, and nobody ever wants that, you
No.
know. Adult you could live with, but never a kid, you know. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think, we've talked about it on the show, but the kids are the ones that stick with you. I mean, I guess we all know why. It's the youth, the innocence, the fact that it's our job to protect them, right? Just as
hmm
adults in general. So it's sad. And in buildings like that, as you know, like they're little communities within themselves. Just the building
yes,
itself is like its own little world. Um,
yes,
so that's really like shattering for basically everyone in the building to be affected like that.
and it's there are many thoughts that I have on the whole situation, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know why weren't these people given adequate heat? Why they have to go 2 weeks without heat?
Yeah.
You know, no one should have to live in that condition where you have multiple different types of, you need multiple space heaters in
Right.
order to live your life. Just, if you're paying your rent, give them adequate heat. It's just a human right at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
you know?
And
Um,
the doors functioning properly. Also,
yeah,
as you know, most of these buildings, there are doors all over the building
all of them.
that are messed up. The elevator doors, the machinery room door, they're always broken, or you know.
Hmm.
And if you don't know, out there in fireproof buildings, the doors are supposed to be self-closing, for this purpose, so that they can't be left open. In a fire, especially once the windows give out. It just creates what we saw on Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I'd assume this wasn't your first fatal fire that you've been to, right?
No, no. This is I've had one in East New York in the summer of 2020, where the members of Ladder 107 rescued a family of four and
Yeah, I
got a
remember.
photograph of a captain from 120 truck carrying out a lifeless child,
Mm,
and I had to jump over fire hose to make this photograph. At the end of the day, I just want to make as impactful images as I possibly can, and make images that stay with people,
mhm.
and make photographs that resonate with people, and like, maybe it helps change the culture a little bit.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, I think certainly with this fire, the pictures I've seen hit
Mhm.
me. And I know I've seen comments. I'm sure you've seen some of them. Like you really you captured that one of the fireman's face. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
found out who it is yet. I mean, that you captured everything in a picture. They
yeah.
say it speaks 1,000 words, but that picture really. I was explaining it to my wife before. She's like, I don't understand. I'm like, just from the look on his face, the soot, the melted helmet, like
Mhm.
he looked defeated and triumphant at the same time.
Yes.
Uh,
He
which is
he
good.
he did everything he possibly could
Yeah.
to give anybody in that hallway a chance at living for an hour or two more, or a day or two more. Like,
Yeah.
that's literally like the epitome of going above and beyond.
Mhm.
That's the only frame I have of him walking out of the building.
Right.
I literally remember saying to myself, "That's the picture. I could stop it, like
It,
photographing it right
it
now." You know,
Yeah. Well, I hope you
um,
don't stop, but yes, I
no,
I agree
no,
with
no.
you.
Like, that specific
Yeah.
photograph,
No, I know what you're saying.
for the day was the picture.
Yeah.
You know,
But
um,
but also like those photographs and not just yours, but all you guys who do it, Dennis, and I know a few of the other guys who are Nicholas. Um, those pictures, they do a lot for history. I mean,
mhm,
if you look back to 9/11, I mean, if we didn't have those images, we really wouldn't know the true
no,
history, right?
yep, yep,
Um, so thank God, like, the fireman raising the flag. I'm so thankful that somebody was there to capture those moments. But we use those too. Like in the fire department, those pictures are a great tool for us, of fire scenes. You might just flip through the paper and see some ladders up to a window, but
yeah,
when you're sitting in a classroom analyzing the picture, it really is helpful to see how they attacked, how the people got out, how the firefighters got out, if somebody messed up,
yeah, yeah,
those things are important too. So that, that work goes beyond just the public, it really is
yeah.
impactful for firefighters.
And it's funny. I always try and be very careful of the content that I put out,
Yeah.
because there's if I take 100 photographs at a fire, I got to be very meticulous of, like, what message do I want to have come across with these specific set of images, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and that's a tough job. Like, selecting your best 10 to 20 photographs to file off to a paper or an international agency
Sure.
in a matter of minutes to convey a story, and a story of that level, it's incredible, you know?
Sure. You're
But
setting the narrative really. You're
yeah,
you're painting the, it's
the
like,
you're you're painting the broad picture for everybody to see what's going on in this specific moment in time of how the city is
yeah.
or how people are living. You know, that's the whole goal is to show people around the world how people live. You know, I
Mhm.
just want to show people helping people. And I think one thing that brings me peace of mind about Sunday is all I saw wherever I looked, it was just people helping people.
Yeah.
And that's what that, I can live with that all day long, you know?
Y yeah, and I think that's what you captured, because
Mhm.
the state of that building, it kinda reflects the state of all of us right now, right?
Yes.
We all kind of feel like we're living in a building with no heat and, poor living conditions, metaphorically.
Yep.
We feel like the house is on fire kinda, right? But,
Yeah.
uh but you're right, it is comforting to know that there are still people out there, and not just like you said, not just the cops and firefighters who were there doing their job. From what I've heard, everyone was pitching in.
Hmm.
Um, I heard a couple stories of light duty guys driving the rack unit, in there doing CPR, which is,
Unheard of.
as you know,
Yeah.
they're nowhere near the fire. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, I mean, I think you captured it. From what I've the stories that I've gotten from firemen behind the scenes, it sounds like
Hmm.
you painted the picture exactly how they saw it also.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
so bravo to you,
That
man.
thank you. That's all I could ask for. You know, like
Yeah,
when I roll out the door for any story, doesn't matter if it's a political story, a shooting, a fire. I just want to set the tone visually for other people to pick up on and understand, okay, this is what people were going through at
right.
this specific moment in time. You know?
But it also, I read your tweet earlier. I think it's important to be aware of what you're going through
Hmm.
personally.
Hmm.
I don't know if there's anything set up for you guys. Like I know we talk about it on the show. Pretty much every guest we talk about the counseling unit and how it helps
Yeah.
us because we're all messed up, right? We've
Yeah.
just seen it all. Is there anything set up for you guys? How do you deal with it?
So ironically enough, there isn't, we handle it amongst ourselves. Like we'll
Yeah.
talk about it amongst ourselves. I had friends of firefighters reach
Oh,
out to
great.
me a couple of days ago. Uh, I had firefighters that I know from across the country call me and text me, and they're like, "Lloyd, we didn't know how you did it this time, you know,
Yeah.
but you kind of you just do it, you know, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You live with it for a little bit, 24, 48 hours, write it down, and then I might not talk about it for a while. I might talk about it right away. Like
Yeah.
this is therapeutic for me, you know. Writing it down was like
Sure.
therapy for me, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it allowed me to like retrace my steps and understand what I was going through and how I was doing with it. You know, I feel okay. Um, I can't believe what I witnessed straight up heroism. That's a lot of people to bring out of a building. You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, everybody. So we had a bit of technical difficulty just there. Ironically, the Wi-Fi in Lloyd's building just went out for a little bit, but we're back. Um,
we're
that
here.
brings up a whole nother episode of Wi-Fi inequality and how people are supposed to go to school and work from home if they don't have Wi-Fi. But we'll save that for another episode.
Yes.
um, so we're back, and I believe you were just talking about the sheer number of people and victims that was uh, to remove from one fire.
Yeah.
I guess that's why it took. You said you got there 35 minutes later. That's 35 minutes after the second alarm,
Yeah.
right? So
After the
that,
second.
I mean, usually, I mean, not to brag, but our fires usually go out in like 5 to 10 minutes, right? So,
Yeah.
for,
Generally.
for a fire to be burning that long, something's gone wrong.
Yeah. Or not. I wouldn't even say something that had went wrong. I just think there was so many people. It wasn't even like an overwhelming experience. It was just they were behind the 8 ball before they started.
Right. By gone wrong, I don't mean like somebody messed up. I just
Yeah.
mean, things didn't go as they usually do.
Yes.
Which happens from time to time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was totally an atypical fire. Like it was the perfect storm of
right.
events, you know?
And if you're not in the Northeast, it was freezing on Sunday, which tends to add a lot of complications. I don't know if they had hydrant issues. I had Jeff Cool on last episode, and he talked about the freezing hydrants on Black Sunday. I don't know. Did I lose you again? You back?
Hello.
All right.
You here?
He's back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
here.
We lost
Okay.
video. We lost video, but there you are.
Gotcha.
So this is technology in the big city. So we're back. So anyway, I was talking about freezing hydrants. I don't know if that played a role here, but it generally in winter fires it does,
Yeah.
as Jeff Cool spoke about last week. So yeah. So sorry. So you were talking about how you have peer support and that kind of stuff, but there are other, like, I have to say, like, I've done a lot of interviews regarding 9/11, obviously, especially when we're working for the Bill. And almost every interview, a cameraman or, you know, somebody who worked on the staff would come up to me afterwards and tell me, I think I'm sick, or, I have, I was at ground zero. I had all these problems, and actually I've helped, cameramen and stuff like that get enrolled in the program.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize is that when there are emergencies, the press, I mean, you'll see Jim Cantori standing in his waders, but I'm talking about, like, when it comes to, like, these types of emergencies, the press are affected also, right?
Yeah.
You guys are in danger, not just from, the immediate effects, but there are long lasting effects to some emergencies like 9/11, or the emotional effects like fires like this, right? So
Yeah. You gotta know how I always tell people, and it's funny, I'm 32 now and I'm one of the older reporters that we have on the street now. And I always tell anyone willing to listen, like, talk to me, talk to someone you trust, talk to someone that was there that can, like, empathize with you and understand what went down there, you know? You shouldn't have to bottle all that stuff up alone, you know? Just work it out however you work it out, you know? Talk to me, talk to someone you trust, talk to whoever's going to help you through it, because in our line of work, it's just, okay, go to the next, go to the next.
right.
And you might have a doozy of a day where you go to 3 stories in a day, and you don't have time to, like, decompress and understand what you just witnessed, that was a
Eh,
big magnitude situation. You want to make yourself as available as possible so you're ready for the next story. You don't want to dwell on the last story.
right. But also you got to, there are definitely parallels between what you're saying and to first responders themselves,
Mhm.
but you got to be ready for the next one, right? You
Yeah,
got your
yeah,
head's got to be in the game. And
yeah,
like you said, you have, a couple of minutes to create the narrative through your pictures of what is actually happening. So
yeah,
if your head's not in the game,
yeah,
you know, you might miss something, or yeah, I don't know.
yeah. Honest to God, I thought I was gonna get up there and see absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I literally thought, and then I turned the corner and it was the bottom of the ninth the entire way through.
Yeah.
It was game was on, game's on the line.
Now, how much fire was there? Was there a lot of fire showing, or was it all just the smoke condition inside?
It was just a smoke condition inside,
Yeah.
really, to tell you
Yeah.
the truth. At least from what I saw. You know?
Right.
Other photographers that you talk to, we all got there at different time periods.
Right.
Yeah? So you just you make the best of what you can out of the situation.
Right.
And then, like, you're either gonna be in the neighborhood or you're gonna be in the borough, or you're not. There's no in between.
So
You know?
and I started asking you this before we got on the air, and I'm always curious. Like, I know you said this was your day off, but
Mhm.
like, how do you normally do it? Like, are you out there like Peter Parker listening to the scanner, or are
Yeah,
you?
I'm either listening to the radio or I'll get assigned stuff. So
Yeah,
any of my outlets that I work for, they'll generally assign me. And if I'm like, I've gone to, I was supposed to be going to other stories,
right.
and I've just stumbled upon like Squad One flying by me,
Mm.
and they're going into an all hands. Sometimes you just get lucky. Like I'll
All right. Looks like we're having.
like I've caught a lot of on days where I'm not supposed to actually be working. It there's no rhyme or reason to it at all.
Well, that's what makes it an emergency, right? You can't.
Hmm. Yeah,
It doesn't care about your schedule.
yeah. It's incredible how that whole scenario works out, where it's just like it doesn't care about you.
Right.
You have to care about it.
Right.
And then when it comes to listening to the radio, it's an art form. It's a total art form.
Mhm.
It's not one of those things that you can just wake up one morning and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go listen to police and fire radio and see what I can catch. You have to know what you're listening for.
And you have to know who you're listening to, right? I mean,
Yes, and you have to
a
know
good dispatcher,
who
you could
sets the
just
whole tone.
that's the whole thing, and you could tell just by the tone of their voice if you're going to something legit
Yeah,
or that the importance of a good dispatcher. Like, people don't realize it. It really does all start with them.
yeah.
They
It's
literally and metaphorically get the wheels rolling.
as long as there will be emergencies, dispatchers will always be the first people to handle it, and then it's everybody else. You
I
know.
hope so, man. That's what I
Mm.
don't like about this automated. We had all those problems when they switched over, and it
Yep.
it, it really it does. We're seeing it now with people calling for ambulances for nonsense, and
Yeah.
if you don't
Yeah.
have a human filtering that crap out, you're going to waste resources, and people are going to die because
Yeah.
the resources went where they weren't needed.
Didn't need to. Yeah, I've seen it happen. When I was up in school up in Buffalo, I saw it happen. Guys would get sent to different addresses a bunch, and then next thing you know, they'd be like, "Oh no, the address is here," and there's fire in like two wood frame buildings on arrival. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
just is what it is. You know.
Yeah. I think a lot of times the dispatcher knows where the caller is, even if the caller doesn't. Sometimes they don't give you the best address, especially if it's
Yeah.
a walker by or, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's
Um,
it. You
all right, man.
yeah, but it's amazing what we get a chance to witness on the back end. Like I could think of several jobs over the years. There was one 280 Wortman where they rescued those the three kids and the mother in East New York. Then there was the even the Manhattan building explosion from a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
That was utter just craziness. It's just a matter of where you are in relation to what's going on. You always hope you're going to be super, super close by, but 9 times out of 10, that's not in the cards.
No, no. I
It's
mean,
very rare. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say they teach us that early on in the academy.
Yeah,
You can't chase fire, right? You
no,
gotta
no.
just,
You can't chase anything when it comes to emergencies. You just
yeah,
gotta have to let it happen, and
yeah,
it's gonna happen. And you just work through it and work it to the best of your ability.
yep,
And you try, like I always try and come up with a picture to show someone or show an editor or a body of pictures. Like this morning, I had a job where this escaped prisoner got away from the cops. They were walking in Brookdale Hospital, and he dropped his shoes, dropped his shirt, and took off on him, and he's handcuffed, and they couldn't find the guy. And it was the most mundane thing, but I had to make a picture out of something, you know.
right. So,
So
what, you get the shoes or something?
I got the guy's shirt. It's a gold
Uh,
and black shirt that he was wearing, and
all right.
you just make something out of nothing, and sometimes you get everything at once.
Yeah,
You know? Sunday was an everything at once. It's bottom of the ninth. You're it.
right.
Come save the game. Just do what you got to do.
Yeah,
Breathe in, breathe out, and stay as calm as possible. The calmer you are, you won't have shaky hands, and the better off you'll be over the course of time.
Well,
know?
yeah, and speaking of the bottom of the ninth, that's Mariano Rivera right there, right? The guy's facial expression never changed, his hands
Yep.
never shook. He just threw the same pitch for 15 years, and
And he
that's it.
produced results.
Yep,
At the end of the day, you just want results,
yep.
And so the funny thing about the job from Sunday is I would make a couple of frames. I would make like 10 to 12 frames at a time. And
We're losing him again.
to shoot it 10 to 12, and I would drop them to my phone, put them in Dropbox, and off
Right.
they went to
Yeah.
whoever they had to go to.
Right.
It's that's the part of our job that like people don't realize is the speed of which everything breaks down.
Right. I mean, that's people should realize that, but I guess they
Yeah,
don't. But I mean, look at
yeah.
the speed at which news travels now. It's instantaneous.
Yeah, it's incredible how fast news gets around now, even for
Right.
us.
Right.
Like 15, 20 minutes, 45 minutes is a big deal.
Right.
That's 45 minutes technically late, an
Yeah.
hour is obsolete almost,
Right.
So for us to do what we had to do to create visuals on Sunday was pretty impressive. I got to give credit to everybody that worked that job. Everybody did amazing.
Yeah. Well, I have to say before I let you go that you guys definitely did your job, because I'm just a retired guy who was sitting in my chair, and I felt like I was there just by
Yeah.
looking at your pictures. You just brought me there. So you did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
As you always do. I know the media and the press takes a lot of crap nowadays, but
Yep.
sometimes you got to pay attention to what's
Yep.
important,
Yep.
as
That-
all those people found out on Sunday. When it comes down to it, that's what's important, right?
Yes, that's the utmost importance. There's probably going to be things that change because of the footage that we got, the photographs that we
Oh,
got.
absolutely. There might be firefighter procedures have changed
Yep.
from pictures and videos, like I said
Yep.
before. So absolutely.
With everybody from the fire department to FDNY EMS to NYPD, all the way down to us, did exactly what we know how to do best. And that's just, for us, it's show people helping people. For
Yep.
you guys, it's trying your damnedest to save those people,
Right.
Right.
Because ultimately that's it, man. All that other bullshit is the shit that gets in the way before you get there.
Yep.
But like you said before, the tunnel vision, that's what it's all about. It's just doing your job, focusing on what's happening in front of you, and none of that shit matters,
Nope, not at all. All right. Good talking to you. Great seeing you.
You too. And before I let you go, you mentioned Buffalo, so I got to ask you one question then.
Yes, sir.
Bills, Giants, Jets?
If I gotta rank them, I gotta go Jets first, Bills second,
All right.
and then Giants third.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you? What's your
I don't even want to say it, but I'm Giants.
okay?
But I went to school up by Buffalo too, so I spent 4 years watching Bills games.
Okay.
So
You can't beat that.
No, listen, I was just happy to get 2 games. Back then, we didn't have football packages and all that, so I got 2 games every Sunday. So
Nice. That's awesome. It's
All
awesome.
right.
Great seeing you.
Yeah, you too, man. I appreciate it, and great job as
Thank you.
always. And go Bills. We'll be rooting for
Go
you.
Bills.
All right,
All
man.
right. See you
Be
later,
well.
my friend. You too. Bye bye.